What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Fishing Junkie episode. I'm going to be doing a video where I'm checking out a product. It's not something I do very often, but if I get my hands on something that looks like it's going to be fun to use, that I'm going to want to do a video and share it with everyone and just, share how well it works. The product here, as you can see, it's called an iBobber. It's basically like a little mini fish finder, and you actually tie it to the end of your fishing pole or the end of your line, and you cast it out, and it connects to your phone or smart device via Bluetooth. And then on your phone, you can see, what the sonar or fish finder is picking up. Looks like something that'd be a lot of fun for folks that fish from shore, which is what I do. So the second I saw it, I was intrigued, and I thought, hey, this is something that would be cool to check out, cool to try out, and see, if it can perform well. I'm going to show you some clips here in a second of me actually using it. I really only try out the basic functions. I don't get really deep with it. The main thing I was curious about was just, is it going to be able to stay connected to my phone and just, will it tell me if there's, fish close by? So really quick before I get started, full disclosure, I have zero affiliation with the company that makes the iBobber. Therefore, any opinions that I express are strictly my own. All right, so the first clip I'm going to show you is my very first cast with this thing. Appears as though it started working right away. Maybe it had a little bit of a connection issue, but I cast it out pretty far and it seemed to, still stay connected and at least show me the depth that I was at for a little while, and you'll see what I mean by a little while. Alright, so I got the bobber hooked up here on the end of the line. There's two different holes on it. There's one for the part that connects to your pole, and then there's another one that's kind of angled downwards if you wanted to put a hook on there, try to get some bait on there. I'm going to try it just this by itself first, and I'm going to try a number of different things about its functionality. One, I'm going to cast this thing out as far as I can, and hopefully it stays connected. Two, I'm kind of curious what its minimum depth is. I'm in a spot where I know some fish hang out, but they're in like 1.5 feet of water. So I don't know if the sonar really works for that shallow of water. So we'll have to see. But I'm going to get my screen recording ready for my phone. There we go. And phone's recording, so let's just cast this thing, see what it picks up. So I went way out there. There we go. Now it's starting to pick up. That was a decent cast. Or it did for a second. No, it's still working. It's showing about 9 feet of water right there. Interesting. Which I knew got deep in that section. So let's slowly reel in. See if it picks up a fish. So there's some fish real close to shore. So yeah, it's getting shallower as I reel in. Just about 5.5 feet now. Now, when I was looking at the specs on the box, I was basically able to calculate that for every 1 foot of depth, you have about a 10-foot, 8-inch radius. So your left and right, or your linear, is about 10.8 inches for every 1 foot of depth, and basically any direction from the bobber. So, oh, fish just got picked up. Interesting. And it's showing some grass. So it appears to be working, and I can see fish in the area. All right, so I'm just gonna jump in here really quick. When I first saw this on the screen, I was really optimistic. I thought legitimately it was picking up fish, and I thought that the grass that's showing up there was just some other stuff that was kind of coming up from the bottom. There's not necessarily grass there, but there's some rocks and some moss and some other stuff. But then I began to realize, and I won't take you through the whole video because it'll probably be 15 minutes. What is happening is this is what pops up when you end up being in less than the effective depth for this thing. So if you go less than, I think it's either 4 or 3.5 feet, it'll start to glitch out, and this is the screen that you see. Why it looks like this, I couldn't tell you, but essentially this thing seems to be really effective in 4 feet or deeper water. So still okay to use from shore, but these smaller ponds where it's no more than 12 feet deep, and really the fish are usually probably 1 to 4 feet deep, it's probably not going to be real effective for you. But in some of the bigger lakes that are around, particularly in Arizona, you got Pleasant, you got Bartlett, those lakes that get deep a little bit faster, there it probably is going to be a bit more effective. And there are a couple times, which I'll fast forward to here in a sec, where you can actually see, the sonar actually picking up a fish here and there. And recording. All right, showing 7 feet of water. And right about here, you can see that fish there along the bottom, about 4 feet of water. That's one time I believe the sonar did work effectively, but then I continue to go shallower and shallower, and I start to get the same error that I did before. Alright, so I attached probably way too long of a leader on here, but see, I got a worm on the end. So this thing supposedly has a bite alarm, so I'm guessing if this thing gets dunked underwater, my phone makes noise. In fact, I'm going to turn up the volume on my phone here, make sure I hear it. Oh, well, that got bit. I didn't see an alarm. It's on. Sounds cranked up. So long story short, with the bite alarm, I could not get it to work. I don't know if maybe there was something I was doing wrong. The setting is shown as being turned on, so I don't know what else I needed to do differently. But at least I do eventually catch a fish with some bait attached to this thing, which I'll show here next. All right, so I cut my leader in half and then I put on a smaller hook since these fish that are over here are kind of small. I at least want to catch something using this thing. So I'm going to cast it out again and then slowly reel up on them. If I cast right at them, it'll spook them because the water's so shallow. There we go. And we'll record it here. And it's on. I think I'm probably too shallow at this point for it to register correctly. Oh, there's actually something on there. It wasn't even pulling on the bobber though. Oh man, I think this thing's a record. That's one of the smallest bass I've ever caught in my life. There's bigger ones out there. Alright, get a fresh worm on there. I can see bigger fish than what I just caught swimming around, so I know I can do a little bit better. Let me go over on this side. So just one last thing I want to point out in this last clip here is that when I was testing this out, every now and then I had some intermittent connection issues. And you'll see it here in this clip as the screen for the sonar will kind of go blank every now and then. It was something that I could work through, and really what I learned was this thing seemed to be most effective when it's about 20 to 50 feet out away from you, and when it's held steady in the water. So if you're not reeling it in too fast, it seems to stay connected pretty well in between that distance. If it gets too close to you, for some reason, it seemed to go out a lot then, or a lot more then, I should say. It didn't go out a lot, but it went out a lot more when it got close to you. But then obviously, if you get too far away, you know, there's going to be some range limitations there. And so it's getting pulled. Waiting for it to kind of go under. See, you'd expect the bite alarm to go when it did that. Again, gotta figure the bite alarm out. This guy isn't as embarrassing as the last one. There we go. He's as wide as my hand. I think we've all caught bigger. So just a quick recap. The iBobber seemed like something that can be effective, but I also learned a few things while testing its basic functions. One is you have to use it in water that's at least 3.5 feet deep. The other one is the bite alarm didn't really want to work for me. Not sure what was going on there. And the last one is it seemed to work best if I kept it steady at about 20 or 50 feet away from where I was standing.